before the sunset today, I went up to on my little walk up here. So the crystal mine up the top, I always think of that might be the place for Chenrezig up there. And after it's rained, you can see all these little crystals in the ground. And they ask that people don't take them away. They're tiny, 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 but they're very sweet. So let's just check in with ourselves. Just check in with yourself, see how you're doing, like you would with a friend. And if you're sitting at your desk, have both feet flat on the floor, about a hips width apart, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is this just beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine, putting some space in between those vertebrae. And go to the crown of the head and relax your scalp, the forehead, the eyebrows, eyelashes, eyes, the back of the eye, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, back of the tongue. If everyone could just mute themselves, please.
Oh, okay,
Not
sorry,
already
my bad.
muted.
Yeah, it's my fault, sorry.
Okay, no worries. And relax the area around your mouth, the jaw, the temples, the ear, the inner ear. Relax the back of the head, the neck, and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And be aware of your breath sensations. And as we've been working on recently, just remember that your chest, think of it as a kind of like a barrel. It's 360-degree breath there. Out to the sides, up. It's like you're blowing up a balloon in your lungs. And then your ribs expand. And then be aware of any sounds in your environment, anything you can smell. And just allow all of that sensory information to be there. Trying not to travel out to figure out what's going on. And then just be aware of how your thoughts are this evening. What's going on in your mind tonight? Try and put some space in between those thoughts and just be curious about what's there in your mind. And be objective. Step back from it a little. And then bring to mind all these people of our life, our loved ones. Our strangers. And then there's those people who we we may have a bit of aversion for. It might be even a temporary angry at someone. And that could be an example of a relationship that's changed, that has interchanged. And then think, despite how we feel about anybody at this particular moment, they're all equal and they wish to be happy, they wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think. We do this practice this evening for all these people of our life and by extension, all sentient beings. So we start by thinking there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind so we can change that just as much by creating positivity. So we start with this first of the four opponent powers, the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think again, I'm sick of this suffering, and then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we need the Buddha to forgive us. We purify ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher, manifesting in this form of Vajrasattva for your benefit. So he's made of this beautiful, radiant white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, and this represents wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and will just have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Zipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Te. So be delighted all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all our inappropriate speech. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is this purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you walk into a room, it's pitch black. And you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, depression, anxiety, all of this instantly dispelled. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafadina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboal Citrokaya Meboal Sipokaya Meboal Anurakta Meboal Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboal Citrokaya Meboal Sipokaya Meboal Anurakta Meboal Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is this purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboal Situkaya Meboal Sipokaya Meboal Anurakta Meboal Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboal Situkaya Meboal Sipokaya Meboal Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And the fourth and final step in the purification process is where we make a decision to refrain from harming. And without deciding, nothing's going to happen. So that's the first step, to want to refrain from harming. So first of all, rejoice in your efforts coming along here. For those of us in the US, it's a Friday night, which is traditionally a night to go out and play. So for those of you who've decided to come along here and not go out and play or go to a movie or something like that, well done. And then think of something you'd like to work on. Maybe it's something to do with your speech. Maybe it's rumination. Maybe some other kind of a habit that we have that, it might be just causing some harm to ourselves or a little bit of harm to others. And just think, like by making this decision, by making this aspiration, having an aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like guardrails. Kind of a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into your crown, and think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So Rinpoche would talk about meditating on emptiness. So emptiness at the end of a practice. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. And so at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do the swift, chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. The Yama killer ruling obstacles, instilling fear with Vajra impetus, the Vajra-hearted famous for his Vajra, with belly large with Vajras of illusion. The Vajra-born, the sovereign of the Vajra, akin to space, his core comprised of Vajras, unmoving, haughty, with his single dreadlock, his clothes an elephant's raw hide, still moist. The great terrific one, who cries, ha-ha, who screams, he, instilling fervent fear. His laugh, a screeching laugh, a booming laugh. He is the Vajra laugh, the mighty howl. I love that. It's very dramatic. Okay, everybody. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, and for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then for all of your own individual teachers. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay safe. Lots of love. And I'll see you on Monday. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you. Take care.